Hello Minecrafters, Arctic Shark Games here, coming at you with another Minecraft Bedrock Edition command tutorial. Today's tutorial is going to be on a money transfer system using the Scoreboard system. I'm going to showcase two different money transfer systems today in the video. The first one is going to be a nice simple money transfer system that I have going on here on my test world, and the second one, if you guys stick around, is a more advanced version which is located on my server. So what we have going on here is the person that stands in the green booth gives money to the person who's standing in the red booth. As you can see, my friend was nice enough to help us out with this video here, and if I go ahead and stand in this booth here and I talk to this NPC, I can go ahead and transfer $1,000 on the scoreboard. If you look, I have $1,000 and Ari Safari has $0, but if I go ahead and click this here, now Ari Safari has $1,000 and I have $0. So I've successfully transferred $100 over to her. And how that works here is basically we have the NPC is set blocking a block of redstone over to this position here, and this command block is erasing it with air, and then we're running this series of commands here. These commands here can be located either in a ticking area or they can be located in an area that's close enough for the player to load them, like right underneath the NPC or something like that. So the first set of command that we have going here is actually in the NPC. So you're going to go in the NPC and we're going to go into advanced settings, and we're going to do a command that is /set block as set of coordinates redstone block, and you're going to put that on button mode. $1,000 I did, and that can be the amount of money you're transferring. Now that set of coordinates you're going to type in, that command is going to be located right here where you want to set the redstone, and that redstone will activate these commands. So if you go ahead and press it, you can go ahead and set the redstone, and it should locate itself in the area that you want. And once you've successfully done that, you're ready to move on to the next step, which would be go ahead and grab a command block, and we're going to put a command block down, and this command block is going to erase air to the block that's next to it. So if you look, when I'm moving on the coordinate grid, I'm going from 182 to 183 on the Z coordinate, so that's +1 on the third coordinate. So we're going to go /set block tilde after the third coordinate. I did +1 air. You're going to need to figure out how you're orientated in the world, and then I put that in a 2-tick delay. So once you figure out where you're located and you're successfully putting redstone down and it's getting erased in air, you're ready to move on to the next step, which is the actual commands for the scoreboard transfer. Now this money transfer, the first command, make sure that somebody's actually standing in the green area. The second command, make sure somebody's standing in the red area. The third command, make sure that the person who's giving money in the green area actually has enough money. The fourth command removes the money, and the fifth command gives the money to the person in the red area. So now, in order to do that, I've used a couple of dx/dy areas. So for the first one, we're going to go /test4 at P, and then we have a set of coordinates x equals y equals z equals, and a dx equals, a dy equals, and a dz equals. And what that is there is I've chose a set of coordinates inside of here where the player's standing. They would be standing anywhere inside of this little green here. So I went for the lowest coordinate in the area, which for me is 275, 180. So if you look, when I move here, I'm going up on the x-axis and I'm going up on the z-axis. So if you look, I need 2 blocks on the z-axis and 2 blocks away from me on the x-axis is how I decided my area. And then I did 2 blocks high in case somebody's jumping around in here. So what that looks like there is a dx 1 2, a dy 1 2, or I'm sorry, dz 1 2, and then the dy is just for me jumping. So back over here to the command block, that's me typing that in one more time, was my set of coordinates, 275, 4, 180, and then I did a 2 dx, a 2 dy, and a 2 dz. You can do any size you want. This would be if you did the exact size of the room that I'm doing. Now that you guys have sort of a short breakdown of what a dx, dy, dz area means, this one here is the same command. This is a test4 at P, but this is a different set of coordinates with the same dx, dy, dz. So basically in here where Ari Safari is standing, I stood on that block and I counted how many blocks, there were going up the x and how many there are upward the z, and that's how I got that area. So you're going to need to note down those 2 sets of coordinates as well as those 2 sets of dx, dy, dz's, and you can use those for the rest of these commands here. So after you have tested for a green player and you've got a chain conditional always active block testing for a red player, you're going to want to test the green player's money. So you go back to the first set of dx, dy, dz coordinates that we just used, and you go scoreboard players test at P, that set of coordinates with that set of dx, dy, dz, and then coins 1000 I did. This is where you decide how many coins are going to be transferred to the other player. So I took 1000 coins out of this person is what we're going to do on the next command. So we're testing to make sure they have enough, so you can't go negative. And then we're going chain conditional, always active, scoreboard players remove, the same set of coordinates, same set of dx, dy, dz, coins 1000, and then the red player needs to have the points added to their scoreboard. So you go scoreboard players add at P, XYZ, DX, DY, DZ, coins 1000, and that's actually giving the money to the player. Now this is a pretty simple version of it here. It doesn't have any messages or any noises or any real commands if the transfer is not successful. So I'm going to go ahead and hop off of this test world, and we're going to hop onto my server, and I'll show you a little bit more advanced version that I created, which also has some doors. So you're going to want to make sure that one person stands in each booth, which is the thought process behind having a fence here, but I have a little bit more advanced version going on the server, so stick around and we will hop over to that now. Alright, I am loading in over here at the RT Shark server, and I'm standing in front of the money transfer booth, and as you can see, my assistant here, Ari Safari, is loading in as well, and she's loading in on the blue booth, which over here, the blue booth receives money, and the green booth gives money. So basically what we have going on here is a couple of fancy fill command doors. So when you walk through this door here, the door closes behind you, and the person that's on the outside could not walk in anymore because I'm standing in here, so this booth's nice and secure. And then I talk to my NPC over here, and the NPC has a few different options for how much money we can transfer. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to transfer Ari Safari over 25,000 points, for example. She has about 50 and I have about 130,000, so she should end up with 75,000 and some change after this transfer goes successful. So we'll give her $25,000 real quick for an example, and you can see that it popped up on my screen and said successfully transferred 25,000 shark bites. It gave her the shark bites, and on her screen it popped up and said you've received 25,000 shark bites, and it played a random level up noise at both of us to let us know that it was successful. So that's sort of some of the bells and whistles there on the positive end. Had I failed the transfer, it would say a different message to us. So let's go ahead and transfer more money over here to Ari Safari real quick and make sure that I don't have enough money for the following transaction. So we'll give her 100,000 and that'll put me down to only 5,000. So now it says successfully transferred 100,000, but now I don't have enough money for the next transfer. So you can see I only have 5,000, and if I attempt to transfer her 25,000, it'll say not enough shark bites to me. It says failed transfer to her. It plays that nasty gas noise at the both of us, and we both know that it didn't work. So that's, you know, some of the fancy bells and whistles behind it. And just to demonstrate, she's in that booth secured over there. If I try to enter, I can't get in. But if she tries to leave, she can get out no problem. So now real quick how that looks downstairs. This is going to be, I guess actually probably not real quick, a little bit more advanced down here. I'm just going to close up the admin room behind me so no one falls in. I have this located right below, and I have 3 tiers of the commands located down here for 25,000, 50,000, and 100,000. With an NPC, you can do up to 6 sets of commands, so you could do, in theory, 6 different sets of money transfers. And you could use that basic version that I showed you earlier on, or you could use this advanced version. And this here is how the commands look for the advanced version. So we have the same sort of set block command coming from the NPC up there down to a set of commands down here, or a set of coordinates down here. So we're setting a block of redstone right here, and this command block here is erasing that block of redstone, and it's the same thing where it just sets block air right over to it. And then what we have going on different this time is we're cycling a piston, and that piston cycles this block of redstone for us, which then goes over here and tests to see if the scoreboard is a successful or if the scoreboard was a failure test, is what this test is here. And then I actually forgot to add it in here, but we have a little additional line of redstone that comes in over here. We have a scoreboard test, and it's going to have a comparator coming out of this scoreboard test as well. And we're going to compare the outputs to these two comparators, and these comparators, when this one's lit up, because I've had a successful scoreboard test, meaning I did have enough money to transfer, these set of commands will not run because this comparator will receive more redstone on this side than it will coming in the back, meaning that it will not allow this command set to run. So here's your failure commands and here's your success commands with a little bit of redstone in between them to go ahead and cycle piston, as well as do kind of a comparator logic gate. So now just to go through those commands real quick, you had your set block of air going to the left, and now you have a green test, in this case being the person who gives money. You're testing for them in a DXDY area just like before. Then we have the blue test, I'm calling it, which is the person who's receiving money, which is testing for a player in the DXDY DZ area again. Then we have the money test command, which is testing for the scoreboard in the first person who's giving money to make sure they have enough. So this is testing for $100,000 on the DXDYDZ area. And then we have the removing command, which is removing $100,000 in the DXDY area. Then we have the blue money command, which is giving the $100,000 to the second person in their particular area. And then we have a first message. This is where the command starts to get different from the basic version, where we're telling a player in the first box that they transferred $100,000, and we're telling the person in the second box that they've received $1,000 by doing a tell at P to a DXDYDZ area, two different sets of DYDZ areas, meaning the first box for this person, the second box for this person. And then we're playing a sound at the first person's area, and we're playing a sound at the second person's area. Now that / play sound random.levelup is that noise that you hear when you pick up an XP orb. And then over here, what we have going on in order to make the failure commands work is if you hop over to your third command, your second chain conditional always active command. This command here is the test scoreboard command, and if this one has a positive scoreboard test, it will make redstone come out of that comparator. If it has a negative scoreboard test, meaning I'm not in range, it will not create redstone. And then we have the comparator coming right out of that command. I have a repeater with no tick delay coming out of that, and then you take the corner with a 4 redstone dust. Then you put a repeater facing into your comparator, which had a piston and a piece of redstone here, a block of redstone. So if you take your piston and you face it away from the command blocks, then you can put your block of redstone right in front of the piston, and that right there will cycle this command each time. And then you have 2 blocks of redstone dust before your comparator to ensure that this signal is coming out of here at 14 or 13 rather than this one comes in at 15. And then you have your chain of commands here for your failure commands, which is a scoreboard test at the player in the first DXDYDZ area, and this is on a 2-tick delay. This scoreboard player test at that area is doing shark bites 0 to 999,999. That's 1 point under the amount that you're transferring. So if you were transferring $1,000, you would change this to $999 right here. So we'll just edit that for you. So that would now be for $1,000. And then this here is a sound. So this goes in the same area that the first person's standing in, and it's / play sound mob dat gas charge. That's that nasty gas scream noise. And then here is / tell at P that you don't have enough shark bites, or you could write not enough coins if that's what yours are called. And this is tell at P in the same area that the first player is standing. And then this here is where the second person is standing, tell at P in that area there for a failed transfer. And then this one here is a play sound at the person with a nasty gas scream, and this person standing in the second area. Now that's kind of a mouthful there. This is sort of the advanced version. You certainly don't have to add all these little bells and whistles, but I find it helpful to add all these cool things so that they know that it definitely was a success or it definitely was a failure. Well, if you guys enjoyed the video, please go ahead and like and subscribe over at Arctic Shark Games on YouTube and Arctic Shark Games on Twitch. I might go ahead and show you guys one of these fill command doors that locks from the inside or something like that in one of our future videos. Or, let me know in the comments if you guys have any requests.